Experience a membership that backs what you're building with American Express Business Platinum. Enjoy complimentary access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection and a welcome offer of 200,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
Welcome into Over There. We are the Kansas City Soccer Journal. Cody, Robert, and Thad here are joined by Diego Gutierrez, a former Kansas City Wizard, a former Nat. Diego, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
So Diego, you have been doing some work, here in soccer, Kansas City, with Deportes. What else have you been up to soccer-wise?
Man, soccer wise, a little bit of everything. I'm involved with MLS. The player engagement department has
Mm.
a pretty strong initiative. As of 3 years ago, I was asked to join a part of former players, former front office personnel, scholars, a pretty significant group of people, 25 people that kind of got together and developed a curriculum and in a workshop for all the players around the topics of racism and discrimination and intercultural awareness. Because it happens that, as you guys well know, as our league has grown and expanded, we have become really, really good at signing players, but we are chasing the ball when it comes to really supporting that amount of players and guiding those players into adjusting and modifying their lifestyles to what we consider the social life and living in America, right, in the United States. And so that friction that clash of cultures creates a lot of times, and I'm not implying it's just through foreign players or anything of the sort. But what we work for is we try to create great cultures where it's the players, the front office personnel, anybody that that's involved with the players, coaching staff, medical staff, everyone, to really go through this workshop, go through these activities, because ultimately what it does is it strengthens the group, it strengthens the people that all work for a franchise, and that grows the brand of the franchise. It grows the personal brand of each of every one of the players, the coaches, but ultimately the league also rises to the occasion at these difficult times that we're living right now. So deeply involved with that. I think the first year I taught 20 of the 30 teams. So
Wow.
January, February for me, typically, I'm typically always on the road. And so, yeah, this year I've had some great experiences with that, obviously teaching and academia and speaking in front of groups, and obviously working with other former players and being in front of those younger players and the newer generations of players that we're watching every single week. Um, it's taught me so much at my age. It's kept me connected. It's allowed me to serve. It's allowed me to use my platform. Really grateful and honored to be part of that group. That's one thing. As you know, Rob, I do radio here in Spanish. At the very beginning and early on, was guiding some of the institutions and municipalities as to how to get ready for World Cup. This is pre FIFA 2026 really becoming as
Yeah.
robust as they ultimately become. They've done a terrific, a wonderful job in getting our city ready and our region ready for what this tournament is going to be. Um,
So let's
ultimately,
go back just a bit.
yeah,
Diego, let's go back just a bit because what you were talking about earlier kind of dovetails. You and I met back in 1991 when
Oh,
you
yeah.
were playing at Blue
Good
Springs High
Lord.
School. Yeah, when you were playing at Blue Springs High School, and you're talking about integrating these players into the culture and everything and getting them acclimated.
mhm,
What was that like for you back then
yeah,
as a teenager?
yeah. Well, as you know,
You've been doing this for a long time, it sounds
I've
like. I
been
just
doing this
learned
for a
that
long
this
time, right? So
this
I've been in and out of the Kansas City soccer scene for over 30 years. I finished high school.
Yeah,
I came to Kansas City, finished high school at Blue Springs High. That's where Mr. Rushard and I met. And
Mr.
but
Russert.
I
Oh,
did,
jeez.
yeah.
that's what I call him.
But I didn't know the language. There was very little Latin community anywhere around in Kansas City. Everything was disjointed. So for me to find football in a new city without speaking the language was difficult. I got lucky that I met a couple of people. One of them being a Colombian kid that went to the same high school, Manny Catan, who
Right.
who kind of showed me around and kind of got me connected with a few people, and little by little I started adapting. But it was a rough transition. I mean, I was in high school for, I believe it was about a year and a half. I went to Evansville, which at the time was the number one school in the country in Division 1, and went there. It was again another difficult transition into a community that was purely Anglo,
Mm,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
barely speaking the language was difficult. So ultimately, I ended up coming back to Kansas City, going to Rockhurst, which was a much better fit. My parents were here in the city, so I at least had some support. But I
And
know I
got your
played with so
MBA
many.
too.
Oh
Got your
yeah,
MBA too. I recently learned it's Dr. Diego Gutierrez.
yes, that's right. Everybody learns at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was gonna say, it was this sort of thing where, now that I've gotten the opportunity to also play with foreign players or with players that are from different regions even, right? You don't have to be so far away, even as far as Mexico, and it's a tough adjustment, right? And so, um, de facto being the bilingual guy, anytime that there was a Hispanic player in any of the teams that I played for, I became sort of the guy that that played the sort of the concierge and making sure that that player was connected
Yeah.
and was adjusted. And so having to play that role again and talking about difficult topics is something that I take very seriously nowadays.
So you were starting to talk about kinda what you're doing with the World Cup now, so, tell us about that.
No, right now I'm gonna be working with Fox 4 and gonna be doing some coverage for them, some of the analysis on games. We're going to be talking a little bit about the financial impact, what to expect, breaking down the brackets, things of that nature. Where, for a local affiliate, Fox 4 is doing an amazing job in covering and promoting the tournament. They really
Mhm.
are, going above and beyond to make sure that we get the maximum exposure possible here in Kansas City.
So, of course, your dream would have been having Colombia, be here in Kansas City, basing their camp and having some matches here. Not the case, and we'll get to that here
Brother,
in a
I
bit.
played I played for this jersey, right? I was
Yeah, I
born and
know,
There
I
raised in
you
know,
Colombia,
I
go.
so
know. Let's get into that.
my
Let's talk
How
my
about
dare
that.
dream
you?
my dream would have been having the US and Colombia,
There you go, there you go.
playing in Kansas City. That would have been amazing.
Well,
It
let's
would have
get
been
into your time
conflictive, but very
with the
amazing.
national team.
Yeah.
So you ended up, in a couple of camps for the national team. Tell us what that was like for you and, kinda what, players experience in that environment.
I started talking with the national team right around 1999. I had played a couple of tournaments with Colombia's U17s, and at the time, we didn't really have a mechanism for the one-time switch that we have nowadays. If
Mm,
you had obviously played for a different country at any level, at back in those days, you were cap tied and you couldn't switch allegiances. And so, despite the fact that I was a resident, it wasn't until I became a citizen back in 2000,
Mhm.
and it wasn't until 2001 that I was able to debut precisely because of that limitation. But I had been in
mm,
camps 2 or 3 times. I was called to, I believe, 3 or 4 different qualifiers. I had about 4 or 5 year of in and out with the national team. Untimely injuries, conflict with paperwork, things of that nature is what I believe limited me, real opportunities to maybe be playing the biggest stage.
Yeah, so do you think it would have been any different if you had gone on the Columbia side?
Well, that was the dilemma, right? Back when I was with Chicago, we won everything in 1998. In
Right.
1999, I was in the combine for one of the Colombian national team camps. At the time, my coach in Chicago was Bob Bradley, who was also an assistant to Bruce with the national team. The conversation began and said, if he goes down and becomes captain, he'll never get an opportunity to recruit him to play for the team. I was playing, sort of a 3-5-2 on the left. That's what the national team at that time was playing. And when Bruce took the team, had a couple of conversations with the federation, and ultimately I ended up getting my citizenship in 2000. Got that out of the way. But I mean, it took almost a year and a half for me to debut with the national team.
Mm.
But look, I think that had it been different, or had I gone with Colombia, perhaps I would have been able to play in the World Cup. But I would have probably not had the MLS career that I did.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, let's talk about Colombia and their World Cup trek for a bit.
They are ranked 1
Uzbekistan?
point they are ranked 1 ahead of the United States. I just looked this up. 14 and
Ah,
15, Colombia and US.
good point. Good point. So Uzbekistan and Portugal are the for sures. We don't know about the third
Yep.
one yet. I think Thad looked that up yet. What do you think of their chances going in?
I
Stats and
think
info,
they're
Thad, did you get that?
Yeah, they're the IC1 pathway, the Interconfederation pathway, and New Caledonia plays Jamaica. The winner of that plays Democratic Republic of Congo, and the winner of that goes into the group with Colombia.
Go Jamaica.
excellent, excellent. So it could be Jamaica, could be the DRC. Okay, interesting, interesting. I think,
Yeah.
regardless of whoever the playoff winner might be, I believe that Colombia has to be one of the two favorites to win the group, right? And
Mhm.
so I think that the important piece for the Colombian national team has to be the first game. It's where, I mean, you start right off the bat with the most difficult opponent in your group, and so but listen, Portugal also has some question marks, right? I mean, we saw the last year it was about, Ronaldo. Does he start? Does he not? I mean, what exactly is his role? There's a heavy expectation of him to play, but is he
He's
really
mi
the best man to be on the field, right?
he's missing PKs now in Saudi Arabia. It's not
I think
looking
he just
good for
pulled his
them.
hamstring a couple days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, quote
And so,
unquote, "pulled his hamstring," just wanted to
right.
get off the
So
field.
I don't know if he's gonna play a prominent role. I believe that he would be, but if he did, oddly enough, I think it would be a plus for Colombia. I think that it would be, in terms of the physicality, I think that Ronaldo is simply, obviously, it's impossible to be the same player that you were 10
Mhm.
years ago, 15 years ago, right? When you're
Yeah.
40, 41 years old. So I think there's a great possibility for Colombia to win the group. Now, there's a couple different aspects as well. I mean, what role is James Rodriguez playing with the Colombian national team? Is he even going to be
Right.
fit, right? Which is why this move to Minnesota, for a lot of different people in Colombia, was pivotal, right? And so he needs to be getting games. He needs to be getting touches on the ball. He needs to be playing 90 minutes week in and week out. And he has not done that consistently for probably 3 or 4 or 5 years, right? This is a guy that's one of
Yeah.
the most talented players on the planet, and yet he can't stick with the team more than 6 months. Always has conflict with the coaches, or it's always, injuries or whatever the conditions of the market, but he doesn't seem to be able to put more than 6 months with anyone. And so the question marks are, okay, well, what kind of James Rodriguez is going to show up? Is it the James Rodriguez of the last Copa America, where he was arguably, with Lionel Messi, the best player in the entire tournament, or is he the 2014 James Rodriguez that was far and beyond the best player out of that World Cup, right?
Mhm.
Or it may be the James Rodriguez that showed up at Everton and played for a couple of games and never played again,
Yeah.
right? And so that's probably the main question for that team, is what kind of James is going to show up. His natural replacement will be Juan Fernando Quintero from River Plate. He also plays part time. So Colombia is very talented. Luis Diaz is got to be probably one of the top three players in the world. He's super hot right now in form, but he can't do it all alone, especially against the likes of Portugal and, I mean, Uzbekistan. I don't know if you guys have seen the form, but these are very disciplined teams. They're physical teams. These are teams that are tough to beat and break down. So, I mean, as much as we want to say all the big names about all the countries, anything can happen in the World Cup, right? I mean,
Mhm.
Argentina was almost bounced out after the first game. They had a
Right.
ton of pressure going into that Mexico game because they lost to Saudi Arabia, something that, under logic, should have never happened. But that's the way the game goes, and that's the way the tournament goes, especially with that amount of pressure.
This episode is brought to you by Workday. Could AI help you do more of what you love? Like reaching bigger goals ahead of schedule, growing careers, and the bottom line. Workday is the next-gen ERP powered by AI that actually knows your business, anticipating your toughest challenges and how to better solve them. Connecting more dots in your organization so your people have more time to connect to what they love. It's a new Workday.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Yeah, Messi and Argentina really ruined that. It's always seemed like a stone cold rule of the World Cup. You got to get that first game in, come out strong, or it just sets you up for failure. And they just broke that rule entirely. But Diego, you're right. That first game, that is going to be one of the biggest, most sought after games here of the first few days of the World Cup. Portugal and Colombia in Miami. That is going to be a great game to check into. Um, so, Robert, I want to bring it back to the Americans. Yes, this is a national. We're going over there. I want to talk about the Americans. You're our tracker that has been following these on the website, kcsoccerjournal.com. Get a weekly update on all these guys. Robert, tell us what has been happening. I saw some goals this weekend. I saw some goals today even. Are you going to update us on those too?
So am I going to be limited here, Cody? You guys always limit me
No,
to a
see, I'm
minute
too
or two.
excited. There's been a lot happening. No timer this week. You can just free flow through it.
Alrighty. So yeah, thank goodness Forlan Balogun got back on the score sheet. It's been a while. I was getting worried about
Gun.
him, right? Right? He scored his
Yes.
sixth of the season for AS Monaco in the past week. And this is all just in the past week. Haji Wright scored twice for Coventry over 2 matches. Ajiman and Pepe did not, however, but they'd been on a hot streak before that. So, and then we got Weston McKennie back on the score sheet as well for Juventus midweek last week. So good news there. Malik Tillman is now back from injury, so that's a good thing as well. But everybody else is getting plenty of time. Pulisic is back, started and went 78 minutes this week for AC Milan, so that's a good thing too that he's off injury. Um, Otherwise, Gio Reyna, the typical story there, did not see the pitch, even though he's in the top 20. Otherwise, everybody's getting about 90 minutes, and we're starting to see some MLS guys push. I mean, let's look at Jedi Robinson. He hasn't been getting a whole lot of time, even though he did see time today. And Max Arston played pretty well Saturday night. He's one of the competitions for Anthony there. So, it's nice to see the MLS guys coming in and pushing a little bit. We're going to talk midfield heavily here with Diego because Diego is mostly midfield in his career. So we'll focus on those in a little bit. But, Banks, a lot of people are talking about Banks should be in that mix in the back.
Mhm.
So it's going to be interesting to see if he's pulled in or not for this next window by Pochettino. If he is, he's truly a candidate. If he isn't, then he might just be saying, hey, it's going to be next World Cup. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But yeah, a lot of exciting things happen. And I don't think there were any goals scored yesterday or today by Americans, but I could be wrong. Cody, did you catch something I didn't?
Well, you mentioned Pulisic, and that caught my eye because Diego, I saw a list come out of some website that put numbers to all of it, tried to analyze statistically the GOAT of American soccer. And I think they're just using, appearances overseas and club career and things like that rather than actual effect for the national team. But at the top of that was Christian Pulisic.
Okay.
What are your feelings on calling Pulisic the GOAT of the national team?
Well, I think that as far as talent, impact in European markets, demand in terms of transfer fees, um, trophies won, and the caliber of trophies won, I think Christian is undoubtedly probably the most accomplished player. Now,
Yeah.
is he the most talented player? Uh, I mean, that's debatable. I mean, Claudio in his heyday, despite the fact that Claudio was not a forward, I'm talking about best player,
Mm-hmm.
right? Best American
Mm-hmm.
player. Claudio in his heyday was an extremely impressive player. Tab Ramos was an unbelievable player. I mean, what the quickness and speed that in which Tab would attack was just absolutely devastating. I know because I had to mark Tab and my kryptonite was to have the ball as much as possible and make him defend. And I was a pretty talented attacking player. But
Mm-hmm.
man, anytime he got the ball, I mean, he would just destroy pretty much everyone, right? And so Tab was an extremely talented player. I think Christian has done extremely well. Weston McKennie is doing wonderful things right now. Just signed with Juventus through
He's our
23.
favorite.
Yeah, Wes is a
Show
great guy.
favorite
I
right there,
actually got
McKenny.
to spend I got to meet him and spend a ton of time with him in Qatar in 2022 with his family as well. Super, super guy, super kid. I mean, extremely humble, well centered, says what he thinks kind of guy. Absolutely, absolutely a huge fan of Weston. Um, but there are others, right? There are others. People, soccer fans have short memories, right? I mean, there are still debates on LeBron and Jordan. Well, the newer generations never truly got to see Jordan deliver in those, I mean, countless pivotal moments, right?
Yeah, what do
And
the
the same,
youngins know about Claudio Reyna anymore,
what do
Diego?
the youngins know
Nobody
about
knows about that.
Hugo Perez, or what do they know
Oh
about Eric
yeah.
Winalda? What do they know about Joe Max Moore? These guys, I mean, Roy Wegerle. These guys were, I mean, incredible. These guys were Premier League players before there was a Premier League, right? And so, yeah, there's been an incredible amount of talented players that I think that we kind of forget about. There's not an exact metric that through which you can judge and evaluate everyone. I think
Mm-hmm.
that those of us that are old enough can kind of compare and contrast. But it's always different. I mean, the speed of play was different. The quality of the fields was different. The leagues to which the guys played, they can't all be measured and put in on a level playing field. So, but I can't argue with what Christian has done. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but I was the sporting director in Philadelphia when Christian was coming
Of
out of
course.
Hershey. We tried to sign him. I tried to sign. I spoke with his parents and tried to sign him with Philly, and this was just a little bit over 5 years or so after the Freddie Adu fiasco, and the
Oh
league
wow,
said
yeah.
no chance. We don't want to sign a 14-year-old again. I'm like, no,
Let him
you
go.
don't understand. This guy is a real player. This guy is nope. They weren't having it. So, needless to say, a month and a half or a year and a half later, Christian was at Dortmund.
So that list comes
Diego,
from sorry, Robert. That list comes from Sports Illustrated. I just said some website came up with
I
it. Yeah,
I
Sports
I
Illustrated.
don't I don't I don't debate it. I think Christian's an incredible player.
but
Beautiful.
Diego, you insulted Cody because you did not mention Clint Dempsey. You know his
Oh,
There
famous.
we
Clint.
go.
I
So
mean,
Clint is 2 on this list.
listen.
He's number 2.
How about Clint Dempsey? How about Clint Mathis?
yeah,
Clint
Ooh,
Mathis
great
was an
name.
incredible talent, right?
I'm not seeing Mathis on this list. The other ones you
Landon,
called out, Claudio Reyna
yeah,
is
Landon Donovan,
5,
of course. Yeah.
Donovan
right?
is 3.
Right. What about Landon? Right? I mean, the things that Landon did in this league. Uh, I mean, astonishing. Landon was quick in England in the Premier League when he played at
Mm,
Everton, right? He was a quick player in that league, and it's like, wow. So yeah,
yeah.
we've been fortunate to have a lot of those guys that have elevated the quality and the name and the brand of the national team, and I hope there's through the system that and the infrastructure that we continue to implement and try to perfect. I hope that we continue to develop more and more.
And yes, Robert, to come back to were there any goals scored today? Yunus Musa scored one today.
Oh, did he?
Fired it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
he's not on my tracker.
Oh, okay. Well, Eunice, got to get
Uh,
Eunice on there.
yeah, update that tracker, Robert. Sorry.
All right, so we're gonna focus on the U.S. midfield, gentlemen.
Yeah, I want to hear about the midfield.
Okay,
So
well,
let
I
me see
mean,
what you got.
okay. Are we including attacking midfielders in that midfield, or are we just going for wing backs and holding midfielders? Where are we going here?
It's your
Let's start
question,
with
Robert.
holding
You do what you want.
midfielders. Let's start with holding
So
midfielders.
okay.
Yeah. All right. So Diego, throughout your career, you played just about every spot in the midfield. You played in the back some as well. Most of the time you spent in which 6, 8, 10? Which one did you spend most of your time in?
Probably box to box,
Yeah.
the A
Okay. So
position.
you're 8.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right, so that's the first one. Let's look at that holding midfielders, Tyler Adams. A lot of people say, that he should be a box-to-box guy. He shouldn't be limited to that number 6 spot where he really maybe has to stay home a little bit more. What are your thoughts on Tyler Adams and where he best belongs?
Just
I
be
think
healthy.
he's an absolute clear number 6. Could he do other things? Sure. I think the number 6 position that, guys like Claude Makelele or N'Golo Kante or,
Mm.
Patrick Vieira, I mean, Tyler Adams is
Ugh.
that guy. He's the link between the defensive line. Sometimes he drops even deeper to get it, but he connects and is always available, right? And he switches the point of attack. I think that is, I mean, if we have a clear number 6 on this national team, it's probably him. Now, having said that, I love what Tanner Tessman is doing in France. He's been
Hmm.
super solid. He was great in Serie A. Now he goes to France and he's even better there. I mean, he's playing 90 minutes pretty much every week. It's a difficult choice. Listen, you can almost include a couple other guys, right? I
Yeah.
mean, somebody that nobody talks about that I got to watch very closely and I paid huge attention to was Jaden Morris. Jaden
Mm.
Morris is absolutely a terrific player, right? Christian Roldan, is he an 8? Is he a 6? I mean, there are so many good quality center midfielders that can play that 6, 8 spot. Uh, but for me, Tyler has the character, has the discipline. I hope he has the health to be our starter come June 12th.
Yeah, for sure. He's getting back into shape with Bournemouth right now. But so if you're looking at the tracker, Diego, we've got holding midfielders, or I've got Tyler number 1, Tanner Tessman number 2, James Sands number 3. You didn't speak
Mm.
really much about
Yeah.
him. Thoughts on him and maybe Timmy Tildman and Sebastian Berhalter? Any thoughts on those guys?
Sebastian, another guy. I feel that he's very similar to Tyler. I know that Mauricio Pochettino loves what Sebastian Berhalter is about in terms of the level of emotion that he brings in the contagious energy that he brings to his teammates, and he's had good results. Having said that, I mean the World Cup is a different speed, right? I mean, if
Hmm.
and one thing that I can tell you guys, going from being in one of the top 2 teams at MLS year after year to going and playing internationally, it's a completely different speed. I mean,
Mhm.
the level of quickness and quickness of thought and the crispness in the execution is what makes a player a good, solid 15-year career player and a solid national team player, the guy that gets 70, 100 caps. It's a massive leap. It's a massive, massive leap. So, I don't know. I think for me, Tyler is our starter, and Tyler is um, probably gonna be our captain as well.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Stouffer's. Here comes 3-time juggling champion Natalia Rogers. She's juggling law school, her TA job. Oh, narrowly catches the laundry. What's that 4th ball? Parents unexpectedly showed up at dinner time? Is that too much for Natalia? Not with Stouffer's Chicken Alfredo and its mouth-watering mix of Asiago, Romano, and Parmesan. when you're juggling 4 things at once and the clock strikes dinner. Think Stouffer's.
It's the Paradise Podcast.
I am your host, Ryan Michelle Bethay, with my husband, Sterling.
What's up?
Join us here on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus, where we'll discuss each episode with the cast and crew of Paradise. I'll be getting all the secrets from Dan Fogelman, James Marsden, Shailene Woodley, Julianne Nicholson, and Sterling Kelby Brown. Woo! Paradise, the official podcast, is now streaming.
And stream Paradise on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus.
Okay, so say that Tyler, God forbid, is not healthy.
Robert,
I've seen Aiden Morris play a lot lately. He's really solid. He's not spectacular, but do you feel like we'd have how big of a drop off would it be to go to whoever would be next?
If you go from Tyler to
Maybe
Tessman,
Tessman. Yeah, maybe.
yeah, if you go to Tessman, I don't think there's much of a drop off. What changes a little bit is the style and the mobility. So I think that you add some things. If you had Tessman in there, you have somebody that can really help you on set pieces. Somebody is gonna be very steady, very influential with the ball. But you lose a lot of that mobility and a lot of that coverage, right? If you watch Tyler play, what you notice about him is those of us that really watch him closely, a lot of people don't notice what he really does. And what he really does is he keeps plays from happening. It's not the ones he wins, it's not the tackles that he makes, it's the plays that he denies. Is by moving 3 yards, he closes a passing lane and now forces that defender or that midfielder to play the ball in a predictable way. Now that the team can now shift, and that helps tremendously, right? That's why I think that Tyler is the right man for the job, especially if you're gonna put 2 or 3 creative players directly in front of him. You're gonna need that guy that's gonna be able to plug holes and chase the ball immediately.
the
Yeah, I was
hidden
listening to a
magic.
I was listening to a podcast the other day that said Tyler is like the counterattack buster,
Yeah.
because he can just read the game so well.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that
that's
hidden
exactly.
magic, the hidden magic of a number 6 that he does so well. I love it.
He came to Kansas City with New York Red Bull, and I was doing the radio that day, and the head coach of that team was Jesse, and Jesse and I
Mhm.
got together after the game, and I said, "Tell me about the young kid that you had in midfield," and he said he won't be here very long. Now Tyler was coming from Red Bull too, right? And so he did go through the pathway. He did have his professional progression. He jumped at the right time. He was guided perfectly. He's a kid that I got to meet as well in Qatar, and he just has a wonderful support circle around him. A great group of people that support him and love him. So, I mean, I'm not surprised at all by the level of success that he's had.
The drop off to Tessman is one thing on the field, but Diego said he's our captain for a reason, and it's because with Tyler comes vibes and comes the locker room experience and the locker room kind of guy. So yeah, whether even if he is not healthy enough to be on the field, like I very much want him in that locker room and with the boys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, are we looking at wingbacks here, guys? Does that qualify as midfield? Yeah, we good?
Close enough.
Okay. All right. So the point I want to go to right away, and I've been on this a bit, maybe I've been harping on it too much, Dad. Just tell me if I have been. Anthony Robinson. I saw him play against Man U about a month ago, and he was terrible defensively. They were targeting him, they were beating him, and Man U won that match, right? And since then, he hasn't seen a whole lot of time for Fulham. I don't know if that's why, but seems too coincidental to not be the reason. He did play full 90 this midweek because there were some injuries possibly. But how important is Anthony Robinson to this side as far as you're concerned, Diego? And does the fact that he's not getting time concern you?
Yeah, of course, it concerns me. I mean, you want your best guys to be able to play and put 15, 20 games together before they even get into camp at the end of May or June, right? Excuse me, at the end of May. So you have to be getting those games. Um, for me, Jedi is how would I describe him? Is not my favorite type of left back, but he's hugely
Mm.
efficient, right? Typically, when he's fit, he's probably one of the most productive players one of the players that has the most physical output. He's a guy that typically is in a pretty good position. He doesn't get beat very much. He supports the attack. He's not a great crosser of the ball. He's not highly technical, but he's proficient, right? And so he'll give you what you need. Just don't expect him to always serve a terrific ball for your center forward to hammer down on the goalkeeper, right? He's probably not going to be able to deliver that type of ball, but he's going to keep possession. He's gonna make it difficult on one of the more dangerous players on the opposing team. So, um, but we have choice, as you said, Austin is a legitimate backup that I think continues to grow. He's had a couple of terrific games lately with the national team. I know Mauricio Pochettino likes him because he's able to get out of trouble and get out of tighter spots. And so I would venture to say though that if Jedi is able to put 7, 8 games together before we get into camp, he'll probably have started our starter as well.
Robert, I actually like the timing of this. I don't think it's horrible. I think there's enough time. We just hit at 100 days. We actually haven't mentioned that yet. We're about 99 days till the
Yeah.
World Cup. So I think going through some tribulations here, having a dip in form, fighting back and getting back on the roster, and then he's got a couple months to get back in form. And I don't think this might not end up being a bad thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The other
for
thing
sure.
the other thing that I was going to say is we don't really know if we're going to play 4 in the back, right? Where we will
Right.
need a left back. We may very well play 3 in the back. You could draw it as a 3-4-3 depending on who that fourth on the left side is, right? And so it could be that you see Anthony Robinson there, but more playing a midfielder position with Tim Ream on the
Right.
left, Chris Richards in the middle, and either Mark McKenzie or somebody else, whoever that next one's going to be. I actually think that that third defender, right, on the right side, if it was a 3-4-3, would be Alex Freeman. Pochettino
Mm,
loves him. He's
yeah.
physical. He's quick. He's dangerous on set pieces. He helps you defensively on set pieces. He's a guy that can link and play. That for me would put somebody like Serginho Dest on the right on the left. Then now you give the ability with Tyler in the middle. You give the ability for Weston McKinney, for more creative players to take possession and a lot more freedom in the middle of the field.
So we haven't talked about Tim Weah. Always a guy that people talk
Timmy
about
Way, yeah.
is immense talent. Is immense talent. Is immense talent. What are your thoughts? I mean, he gets plenty of time with Marseille, but he hasn't been on the score sheet at all. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, he hasn't found a position in any of the club teams that he's played for, right?
Hmm.
We know about his pace. We know about his range. He can play that wide spot that we just mentioned where I just put Serginho. Timmy Weah can play there. He can play as a right back. He can play as a left winger, or excuse me, as a right winger or as a right back, right? And so he can play anywhere around that on that right side. The question is, what system are we going to play, and is he going to be healthy enough, right? And so whether whether it was in Italy, whether it was in France, he's always. It seems that he has soft tissue type of injuries, and he has
Hmm.
them often. And so I don't know if it's the preparation. I don't know if it's the different types of training, um, but he's a dangerous player, a player that can get in behind. He can get to the end line. And when you have forwards like Fullerin, or you have a forward like Christian Pulisic who's arriving top of the box later, maybe far post, you want that type of crosser on the field. So I think Timmy Weah is definitely going to be part of the roster come June 12th.
Sure,
Yeah, and
sure.
for me, he's the kind of guy that whether he has been killing it with his club or not, he is always, always dangerous, like you said. And he's that guy that's in this World Cup that is going to score a goal that comes out of nowhere, a brilliant goal that gets all of the casual sports fans. All of a sudden, they love soccer after
Yep.
this guy Weah has done something. He's that kind of player. So I'm excited for him this one. And Diego, you mentioned a couple times there, depending on what Poach is going to do on the field. Thad and Robert and I have talked a lot about what he's done off the field and including the environment he's cultivated and things like that. What do you think of what he's done on the field so far tactically?
Well, I mean, it wasn't a great start, right? And I think that there was there was a learning curve. There was a period where, for the players, of course, and for Pochettino, there was a learning process that had to take place. You have to remember that it's a very different job to be a national team coach than it is to be a club coach, right? Being a club coach is about working every single day, trying to protect areas of weakness, trying to develop players, trying to protect players, trying to project other players, always trying to get 3 points. A national team coach is a completely different job. You
Mhm.
only get those players for a handful of days, right? So the maximization of that time, that growth of those relationships, has to occur very, very quickly. The transmission of philosophy and ideas has to happen at lightning pace. And a lot of times, especially when there is a different culture that's at play, that connection is not immediate. The respect might be there, the willingness to work together might be there, but the understanding of expectations, for example, is one thing that may not be perfectly clear. And so I wasn't surprised when the results weren't there, right? For
Yeah.
starters, he was trying to make sure that he uh, built a culture where people wanted to come and play for the national, right? For there was a period there, for if you guys remember, going back in time, I do remember where a couple guys didn't want to come in. I've had too many games, or
Mhm.
we have an important game, or I'm nursing an injury when they received the call. And so he had to draw a line, and he had to say, if you want to be part of this World Cup, and I believe that you want to be part of this World Cup because it will help your career tremendously, you need to be coming into these camps, regardless of who the opponent is. And so I think that gesture alone dictated a new philosophy for the players. It made the players want to play for the national team again. I think that Landon Donovan has said it very clearly. That wasn't a problem back in our days. If you
Mhm.
got called into the national team, even if you were needing surgery, you were going into camp, right? You do that later, right? Because it meant that much to everyone. And I'm not by any means saying that it doesn't mean much for the guys today. That's not what I'm implying. What I'm implying is that the demand and the competition has to be established. The pride and the culture has to be set. And that takes time. And so I wasn't surprised that the results were there for the first few games. I think that as the time went on, he's proven that the guys respect him, that the guys like him, that they're buying into his ideas. And so I
Mhm.
expect our national team to be firing on all cylinders again at the beginning of the tournament.
All right. So let's look at attacking midfielders. Of course, we talked about Pulisic, forward attacking midfielder, whatever you want to say. It seemingly has been like a 3-4-2-1 in the last couple of matches with the dual attacking midfielders. The guy that really compels me in this group, Diego, guys, is Malik Tillman. What are your thoughts on Malik Tillman as for what you've seen, Diego?
Fantastic player. I
Yeah.
think Malik. I would love to have Malik in our starting 11. Uh, Again, the question is, where does he fit? Right? Does he fit behind a lone striker along with Christian? And if that's the case, who are the wingers providing the service? And
Mhm.
so, you have to understand that Malik is more of a combination type of player, a player that will arrive late. He's a clinical finisher. He combines with his teammates very, very well. Uh, but we have to first dictate that that's the type of style that we want to play. Oh, it is? Okay, well then, how do I best surround this unique talent? It's the same question for Christian, right? It's not who deserves to be there. It's how do I best get out of who do I put there to make sure that we get the best, not just out of Christian, but also out of this player. And that output,
Mhm.
that collectively is what gets the entire team going, right? Guys that are, for example, a little bit more defense minded might be required in certain spots. Well, if he
Yeah.
doesn't cross the ball, that's okay. He's not gonna cross the ball because the guy in front of him is the guy that's gonna be doing the crossing, right? And so developing this chemistry, you asked me about Pochettino, developing those relationships and that those triangles on the field, right? Whether it's, your left back with number 6 and with the winger and with the center forward and with the center back, right? Developing those relationships takes repetitions. It takes time. And so this is why it was so troublesome that we weren't getting the guys in. And now that we got the guys in, now the guys are coming in. Now, our top players are informed. I'm looking forward to see what kind of windows we're going to have here coming up in Atlanta. We got some good games, so we should begin to see what resembles our starting lineup for our first game against Paraguay.
Right.
In theory.
So you, Diego, as you said, we're in Qatar during the whole, Reina Berhalter controversy.
Yes.
And Cody and Thad and I had talked a lot about Gio Reyna. Thoughts regarding that? He's not seeing time. He was, even not even training with the first team for a little while, but now he's back. He's in the match
Are
day
you putting
20
him on the
recently.
boat? Are you putting him on the
Yeah.
bus, Diego?
What
Does
do you
he
think,
come with
man?
the team?
I would not.
Good
I
man.
would not. If you're not getting games, if you're not actively playing, you're not game fit. And if you're not game fit, I can't call upon you, right? Not only do I expect you to be game fit, I expect you to be informed. And if you're not close to your top form, if you're not being a meaningful player for your club team, that tells me that you're not probably going to be a great contributor. And there's just simply too much competition for spots. I wouldn't take
Yeah.
Gio at the expense of Diego Luna. There's no
Right.
way. Why? Because I know Diego Luna is playing meaningful matches week after week. I don't care if it's an MLS. MLS is a quality league, right?
It is.
But he's getting minutes week after week after week. And guess what? He's productive for his team. He's either scoring or setting people up. He's doing great things. And so that's exactly what you want. I mean, you can make this argument with forwards all day long, right? It's not the best forward. It's according to your rivals, which forward is going to give you the best chance to win, which forward is in form right now. There's so many different things and not just about quality, right? It's about which group of players, what combination, what dynamics are going to give you the best chance to win.
All right. So
By
let
the
me
way,
ask you that.
I don't think that Gio has enough to make that one.
All right. So you're talking about combinations. So let's say it is a 3-4-2-1, two behind Balogun or whoever. Who is that best pairing? Is it Pulisic and McKennie? Who is it? Is it Weah and Pulisic? Who is it?
I've always thought that Weston is more of an attacking player in a number 10 than he is anything else. He has been, through his club career, either a number 8, a number 6, sometimes he's put on the right. And by the way, he's also played left back for Juventus on a pitch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, but now here comes the new coach, and he's such a complete player that he's saying he could play number 9. And he's now playing further up the field and he's scoring goals. I personally have always thought that Weston is maybe an 8.5. And what I mean by that is he's a good central creative midfield player. If you just give him a little bit of freedom, he can do wonderful things. He comes into the box late, which gives him the ability to look at some of the crosses. He's a wonderful runner inside the box. His timing for his runs is absolutely great. So I think that if you could have Fuller in, you could have Christian in Weston right behind, with then having 2 quality crossers to the ball, people like Timmy or somebody that can get to the end line and cross the ball or can take people on. I think we could be in good shape and we could be really, really dangerous. But it's also about who your opponent is.
Man, every time we do this, the more we talk about it, the more we talk about actually on the field. I hear Diego talk about Balogun and McKennie and Pulisic up there. Why do people act like we don't have a chance? Listen to that. Those are great players. Those are world-class players
So
that
let's
can
talk
go up
about
against
that.
anybody.
Let me
I'm
take
feeling it.
Yeah, let me take Bob's spot and say, okay, well then, how far does this team go? And let's say that we are firing on all cylinders, right? And we have our best players in good form, no suspensions. How far do we go?
Well, see,
Well,
that's the thing. The World Cup is sometimes you don't even have to be that great. You just have to have a good tournament, a good few games, and feel the wind underneath you, and it just seems to happen. Like Morocco has done it. Like It just seems to happen. So the more we do this, and I just listen to these players and triangles with Balogun and McKinney and Pulisic, I'm like, oh, we could do this. We could
You're
actually
getting
do this.
tingly, aren't you, Cody? You're
I'm
getting
getting
tingly over
tingly,
there.
man.
Right. So how far, Cody? How far? How far can they go?
Well, Thad, are you researching who is, like Diego said, who are we playing? Who's the possibility that might come in other groups that we're going to play in the next rounds?
If you have belief, it doesn't matter who they're playing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, think it does a little bit.
I want a win in the elimination part of the tournament. The quarterfinal is our benchmark, right? That's where the 2002 team was. A quarterfinal. Why not? Why not, Diego?
That team in the Germany game should have gotten a penalty kick.
Yeah.
Never
I'm still
forget.
pissed off about
Should have
that.
gotten a penalty kick, and we could have been in semifinal, right? And so that's how good that 2002 team was. And I was part of that group.
They were robbed.
Yeah, we had a really, really good group.
And was a lot of that because they just, and I asked this question before, because they didn't really care what other people thought, they were just out there, or were they just, so young and kind of naive, they just went out and played and had fun?
I think there's a little bit of that, a little bit of, the group being naive and not truly understanding the level of pressure. So when you don't have a clear understanding on the level of pressure, you don't know about the pressure. You don't feel it, right? Whereas when France takes the field, you know exactly what that feels like, and it's all the pressure in the world. Same thing for Argentina and all the other top clubs. I think that group was special in many ways. I think that group was really battle tested in many ways. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Old days CONCACAF qualifying was some of the most some of the greater tests in terms of resilience and discipline in keeping your cool and dealing with conditions. And so
put those French guys. Put those French guys out in CONCACAF qualification back in the day.
Put them in San Pedro Sula. Yeah, put them in San Pedro Sula, El Salvador at a noon game. See how they fare. That's exactly, on a pitch that has glass on it.
Right.
I mean, it's like that. So that group was battle tested. I think that if our group really gets behind the home field advantage, right, really understands that the entire country is behind them, and we are in good form, I think there's no reason why we can't win the group. If you win the group, you potentially, because if you look at Argentina's group, it's Argentina's group, and I expect them to come out on top in that group. I don't expect them to make the same mistake and lose the first game as they did last time. So winning the group means you potentially avoid Argentina. And if you potentially avoid Argentina, then you're qualifying to the round of 16, potentially, most likely, against a team like Belgium. And I like our chances against this version of Belgium.
Yeah.
If it was the previous version of Belgium,
it is a different version.
6 years ago, I would have been like, oof, that's a tough game.
We've now dodged their golden generation.
I think that that's a winnable game for us, and it would be a game that where if you win that, now you really, really have everyone's attention, and that's when we'll prove our mettle if we deserve to be in the last 8 or not, because we're definitely going to be playing Argentina or France or a heavy. Excuse me. I believe that if we were to beat Belgium, it would be Spain. And that may or may not be the end of the road. But that's why they play the game, right?
Yeah, it cuts down really quickly. You go from some winnable games, and then you advance one round, and then all of a sudden it's Spain, and Argentina, and Germany.
Yeah, it's very unforgiving when you get to some stages. You dodge
Argentina, makes it great, though.
You run into Belgium, you run into Spain. Yeah, look, if you want to win the World Cup, you gotta play the best. But I think that winning the group extends our life by maybe a game. At least that's what
they gotta win the group.
What I understand the bracket to be.
So
they
Diego,
should win that group.
How far will they go?
I think they'll go to the round of 16, and if it is Belgium, I think that we'll be in the round of 8. We'll be in a quarterfinal.
Hell yes.
Right.
Hell yes. That's what I needed.
Just some balancing here. 2002, they made it to the quarterfinals. They could have made it to the semifinals if the German thing hadn't happened. but this year there's an extra layer of knockout game. So
Right.
quarterfinals is actually one layer
One
past
layer
what they
more,
would
yeah.
have made before.
That's
Yeah.
So
true.
one layer, one step
You're
deeper.
absolutely right. Yep.
I don't know. How
So
do we do that? How do we judge that as fans? Is the quarterfinal still the quarterfinal? Is that still the
I
point?
think
Because
that you
there's
got
just
to get to
lesser
the,
Oh, yeah.
teams,
if you
right?
get to the round of 16 and you've had a couple of good wins and a couple of pivotal
Yeah.
moments, right?
Yeah.
That have sort of brought the entire country together. I think that's the mission. I think that for me is success. I mean, I'm not one of the naive ones or the arrogant ones that says, no, success is the World Cup. Well,
Mhm.
of course it is. That would
Yeah.
be the ultimate success. But there are degrees of success, right? And so for me, an acceptable degree of success would be getting past the round of 32 into the round of 16 and facing a really tough opponent. And if we win that and we sneak into the round of 8, that for me would be something that would inspire the next generation. That ultimately, guys, is the goal of this whole thing, right? At
Yes.
least from
Yes.
the sporting and the commercial side is, you're inspiring younger generations. You're fulfilling exactly what sport is supposed to be.
Well, Diego, the reason that Cody asked that is really because math is hard, and he was just trying to figure out the math of the quarterfinal there. But anyway, um, you just said commercial, and I don't remember the other word you used in that, but I have to ask. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
You guys can
Prices.
roll your eyes, but is in your mind, Diego, because you've been around players, you've experienced this, is a political atmosphere going to impact this for the U.S. team in any way, shape, or form? I don't know what
It
it's going to be come
it
June,
may,
but
yeah, it may. It may. I think that the geopolitical situation doesn't help anything on any level. It creates animosity. Um, I feel like what's been happening with our country the last 6 months has disconnected us uh, in many ways from European countries that used to think very highly of us, right? And so I don't know how that affects attendance, how that affects the immigration process for visitors and fans. I don't know how it affects the atmosphere at games. I mean, there were um, conversations and speculation about ice being outside of games, and if so, if that's the case, then who wants to come? If that's what
Well,
we're
I
gonna
think
do,
there's,
then why have the tournament if
yeah.
we're gonna exhibit that type of inhospitality, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's
that
gonna
lack
be
of
hard
hospitality.
to make it not political in any way is gonna be hard when we watched the draw and saw Donald Trump receiving a peace award for some reason. So it's going to be there and it's gonna be hard to ignore. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, I think that inevitably, players are not robots and they're human and they
Yeah.
have opinions and they have thoughts. And so there will be a lot going on, right? As you guys know, in other countries outside of the US, soccer is everything and it's intertwined in the fabric of society in ways it is not here. And so that means that politics, religion, socioeconomic status, sport, everything is rolled into one representation in one jersey. And when that happens, there's a lot of emotion. And so I hope for the best in terms of the political situation. I pray that that things don't deteriorate to a point where nations end up declining or boycotting
right.
or
Mhm.
not being able to come, or as it was the case in the last years with Ukraine, and having to play elsewhere and qualifiers, and it's just crazy stuff that affects sport. I fear for us, but I hope for the best.
Sure.
Complete 180 from that conversation. You mentioned Jersey. How about that new jersey? You like the Waldo kit, going back to the Waldo a little bit?
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diego. Thank you.
I think it's all right. It's not my favorite, but look, I mean, if people like it, if the guys feel great in it, if it if the masses feel it's a great representation of what we want to portray as our symbol for the next X amount of months, then great. I mean,
If
whoever
they
I
do
can knock
well,
it.
we're gonna love it. If
Yeah,
they do
if
well,
they
that's
make
gonna
it to
be
the
great.
semifinal, that would
If
be
they
the
do
greatest
well,
kid
I'm
ever.
getting one. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Hey,
we make it
Diego,
to a semifinal, I'm gonna frame one.
Hey, Diego, I'll let Cody and/or Thad close things up, but hey, you've been great, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
Every time going back to, 2004 and beyond, anytime I ask you to, sit down for a little chat, you were willing. I appreciate that. Appreciate it now.
Of course.
And, of course, hope to see you more in the future. But hey, appreciate it. And,
And
well done.
and he is one of the best media game players of all time in Kansas City history.
But he
Speaking
hasn't
of,
played in a couple of years.
it's
What's up
been
with
him.
that?
That's why I'm going to ask Diego. The
But I
invites
was
just went
but
out
I
for
was
the
that
comments game.
impressive. But I was that impressive. You see?
Yeah, that's right.
I was the
That's right.
Gio Reyna of the media game.
Hey, I think you and I combined on a few things.
I only played a few
at some
times,
point.
but when I played, I was pretty good.
Diego, the
You were a
invites,
ringer, Diego. I was on the other side of some of those games. I did not like that.
the invites just
Oh,
came
man.
out for the Comets celebrity game. So I'm just saying,
really?
send an email. I'd like to see you out there.
I'll come out.
I'll forward you a link, man.
Hey,
No,
listen, if I get invited, I'll come out. I'll be there.
All right, all right.
I'll forward
right,
you a
guys.
link if they haven't done it.
No.
All right. Well, Diego, thank
they
you
have
very
not
much.
invited me. All right, of course. Good to talk to you guys.
Thank you very much. We'll be back again next week going over there.
We're the red and the white and the blue, and we're coming for you. We'll take on the world and we'll take you too. So stay standing tall, proud and true. We're the loud and the proud. 90 minutes rowdy in the crowd. The Yanks are here and we ain't going nowhere. So stand up and fight if you dare. Over there, send the word over there. And the Yanks are coming, the drums rock tumbling everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there. We're the red and the white and the blue, and we're coming for you. We'll take on the world and we'll take